Please, I will start the presentation, and thank you very much for participants already joined. And we are very glad to deliver Indonesia current situation on the GCM and on the carbon market. So yeah, I don't know why this is maybe Japanese system. Okay, please start the presentation. Arasatang, the sharing, please. Yeah, apology for yeah, thank you very much. My title of presentation is the contribution of the carbonization for the, okay, finally I can see my own face. Yeah. The implementation of the joint crediting mechanism in Indonesia. And I will share this presentation with Pak Cahyadi. So I will present some slides and then continue by Pak Cahyadi. Next. Yeah. Here we can see the long-term strategy that we have. Indonesia already have some strategy in terms of the low emission development. And here, the latest, the carbonization policy that we have is the long-term strategy on low carbon and climate resilience, or LTS-RCCR for 2050, that already delivered on 2021. That indicates ambitious target to be implemented in the AVOLU, energy, IPPU, and waste sectors. And on the more ambitious target, the primary energy mix consists of coal. Yes, we will still have coal in 34%, and gas 25%, oil 8%, and renewable energy 33% in 2050. The additional mitigation through building street lighting, biofuels, and everything also will be done by using the energy efficiency. And then we also have the presidential regulation on carbon pricing, number 98/2021. And this is the internalization of the emission externalities with the polluters pay principle, regulate trading and non-trading instruments, including carbon offset. And the ministerial decree for carbon pricing now is still under preparation. So we are now currently waiting for this ministerial decree to implement all of the carbon pricing implementation in Indonesia. And the latest is we have what we call the green taxonomy. Green taxonomy encourage green investment in Indonesia, and we also give some value on the green investment that then can be implemented in Indonesia by ratings. And in the below the pictures here, you can see that if we can do it well, so the emission reduction can be slowing down and then reduce not only like in business usual, but we can reduce a lot in 2050. Next. And then we also have what we call the Indonesia Net Zero Emission Strategy. You can see in here that we still have coal until 2050, but we try to reduce it. So this is our strategy that had been developed in 2020 and 2021. And I think there are also some new regulation and strategy that now are being still discussed. Cahyadi-san, please.
Thank you very much, Pak Diki. Good afternoon, colleagues and ladies and gentlemen. So I will continue the presentation, and I will introduce what we already know, but maybe part of you know, but the joint grading mechanism. As already mentioned earlier by Pak Ferry, that this cooperation is started in 2013, which is far before the Paris Agreement concluded, and that driven by decarbonization. So with this cooperation, leading technology and panel support, also capacity building, will be facilitated to Indonesia to be implemented in GCM project, and through the methodologies that also applying monitoring, reporting, and verification that is developed by both countries. This its project, the GCM project, will result the reduction of GHG emission, which is also called by the GCM carbon credits, that can be used by both countries to fulfill their international commitment in climate. Next slide, please. And this is the structure of the GCM, which is both government will operational this scheme in the joint committee, which is the highest what do you call it? The highest body in GCM that set the rules and guidelines, methodology, registration of project and credit issuance, and also discuss a general implementation of GCM. And there are also secretariat from both countries, in Japan and Indonesia, that help joint committee to run this scheme. We can see in this slide, there are project participants that contribute to this scheme, that is also a key player for the implementation of low carbon technology, and also a third-party entity to ensure that all of GCM activities is validated and verified of its carbon issuance. Next slide, please. And if you are familiar with some initiative like clean development mechanism from UNFCCC, this project cycle similar, and we can see that it is include several key players, which is already mentioned in the previous slide, from methodology submission until the end of cycle is carbon credit issuance. Next slide, please. And in GCM, we applied many technologies from energy efficiency and also renewable energies, from biomass until cogeneration, and also in advanced process control in oil refinery industry, and also cover a lot of sectors, from a convenience store until a lot energy consumption company like in cement industry or in oil refinery. This is all covered in our 49 project right now, and also spreading in Indonesia from Sumatra until the western part of Indonesia, until eastern part in Maluku and also Nusa Tenggara. Next slide. This is example of GCM project in renewable energy. It is implemented in Aceh by PT Primanusa and Aura Green Energy, which is power generation from the residue of palm oil factories. And this is also contributing to clean energy to grid electric power in Indonesia. Next slide. We also have 10 mini hydropower plants implemented in 6 provinces from North Sumatra until Maluku, and the expected GHG emission reduction is about 173,000 tons CO2 per year. One project is already run, and other projects, because of but the pandemic, some have reschedule the implementation and still running until right now. And the next slide is about the project that already mentioned by Pak Ferry, which is in Semarang. It is from City to City cooperation between Toyama City and Semarang to implement to install 72 CNG diesel in public bus in Semarang. And next, we also have 5 solar power generation projects, which is including 9 Indonesian companies and also 6 Japanese companies. The location is from Sumatra, Jakarta, West Java, Central Java, East Java, Banten, Bali, and also in Riau Island. And the expected GHG emission reduction is about 7,700 tons CO2 per year. That is some information about DCM, and then I will give back to Pak Diki. Will explain about the way forward of GCM implementation. Thank you, Pak Diki.
Thank you, Pak Cahyadi. Yeah, if we talk about the GCM, it can be separate from the decarbonization and low carbon development. Not only Indonesia, but also in the 17 countries that already implement the GCM. So Indonesia itself has its unique challenges, and we think that learning from the Indonesia challenges, then we can do the GCM better in the future. So here the potential collaboration that can be done in Indonesia and that can be implemented well in Indonesia if then the Japan government and the Japan companies then or other companies from other countries also can collaborate with us to develop the solar energy industries. The solar panel and its component, it is very prospective in Indonesia, and then the energy efficient equipment production. In the GCM implementation, we have more than 30 projects and energy efficiency, and all of it can be replicated in Indonesia. And in some technologies, the GCM already start to produce this equipment in Indonesia. And then the low carbon technologies, other low carbon technologies that can be done with the collaboration of private sectors and the government in Indonesia. We can develop cogeneration, combined heat and power, waste recovery, waste to energy, CCUS, and energy storage system. All of the technologies here are being implemented in Indonesia, excluding the CCUS. CCUS is still under detailed feasibility studies, and soon we hope that we will have our first CCUS. And then electric vehicle, the e-car, e-bike, e-scooter, and any other electric vehicle can be implemented. Well, Indonesia, if then Indonesia also will work together with Japan and other developed countries to develop battery and its components. Next. Yeah. If we see here, the challenges not only come from Indonesia for the internal country of Indonesia, but also this is the challenges that come from the global situation. We have tried to reduce the coal consumption in Indonesia, but suddenly there are a very high demand on coal from the global side, and we experience now the coal dramatically then rising exponentially. The price of the coal is rising exponentially due to Russo-Ukrainian war. So the price now, the Indonesia coal price now is around more than 350 US dollars per ton, and not only affected by the war, but the price of this dirtiest fossil fuel has also soared by the hot weather in North Asia and Europe, increases the need for air conditioning and the industrial recovery post-pandemic. So it makes our strategy not only in TCM, but also in other decarbonization strategy, then must change due to this condition. Next. Yeah, this is other challenges that we must face currently because of oversupply on grid electricity due to COVID and the recession that caused by the COVID and the Russian war. So we have oversupply more than 40% in Java, Madura, and Bali electricity, and then increasing gas price. While Indonesia is highly dependent on imported LPG, and currently more than 70% of electricity produced by PLN are coming from coal power generation. This makes some of our projects are still on hold, particularly our solar projects, because PLN encourages the use of electrical stove in household and discourage the newly installed solar rooftop projects in Indonesia. So we have no limitation from PLN for solar power projects from 100% into 50% of capacity. But we hope that this will not be permanent, and we hope that soon PLN then and the government then can withdraw this limitation. But some of our projects now are still being held because of this. So this is our current challenges on the GCM. And I thank you very much for the opportunity to deliver the current Indonesia situation on the GCM implementation. Thank you.